You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. So now here at the Daniel Monday Night Community Show, it's time for our regular slot with the local police force. As you're new to us, I was just hoping you could introduce yourself to our listeners, and thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, certainly. Well, first of all, my name's Rachel Mcnei. I joined as Swale District Commander in September of last year, having previously worked as a District Commander for Tunbridge and Tunbridge Wells for about a year prior to that. Overall, I've had 18 years experience in policing, and throughout my career, I've pretty much worked across the county in various roles and departments. So it's nice to come back to my roots. I was originally from Faversham area, so that's obviously part of Swale, and looking forward to the challenges ahead. I think Swale has its geographical challenges with 3 large towns, a large rural farming community, and obviously an island. So I'm looking forward to times ahead.
Now, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about vulnerable people being targeted as victims of crime.
Yes, indeed. Kent Police are committed to ensuring those most vulnerable in our communities are safeguarded from being targeted as victims of crime, whether this be vulnerability through age, gender, ethnicity, personal crisis or otherwise. And Swale's Community Safety Partnership aims to support and safeguard those most vulnerable in our communities, ensuring that we signpost to the vast array of charities and other support groups across the district and indeed the county. I suppose by way of example, partners such as KCC wardens work closely with the police community support officers, ensuring that we deliver fraud packs to residents within Swale, especially those elderly and those most likely to be targeted by fraudsters. Just prior to Christmas, Swale saw an increase in frauds targeting the elderly, whereby suspects purported to be Met police officers encourage victims to withdraw large sums of money. As a result of this, in partnership working as well as local policing, a person was arrested and subsequently charged for numerous offences.
I was hoping you could talk a bit more about some of those crimes that you could be vulnerable to, and I know a lot of them have different terms and names. I think one of them is cuckooing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, cuckooing is a term that's used when a home of a vulnerable person is taken over as a base for people concerned in the supply of illegal substances, who commonly use intimidation, bullying and violence to maintain control. We've seen an increase in profile across Kent, and locally, Swale's community policing team are specifically tasked with locating and targeting those most responsible for preying on the communities and the most vulnerable in the communities. Every aspect of these crimes described can be supported by our community, whether as a resident of Swale or someone who deals face-to-face with public in Swale, whether in shops, banks or licensed premises, everyone can play their part. I suppose I'll take this opportunity to urge the community to look out for your neighbours, friends or family that could be targeted by criminals, and each and every one of us can play a huge part in that. Be aware of any changes in behaviour, especially those perhaps more isolated, the elderly or vulnerable groups. Is there any unusual comings and goings from the addresses, for example? There's a wide range of support groups and organisations locally in Swale, also across Kent, and in partnership with the members of the community safety group that I sit on, we aim to support victims and proactively target those committing these offences and bring them to justice.
So it's one of those things, as well as being aware of how you can be targeted, it's looking out for other people. I know sometimes it's one of these things you don't always realise you are vulnerable to it, but you might notice someone else who you think could be falling victim to one of these crimes.
Absolutely. I think everybody needs to play a part in that. I suppose the old community spirit, as it used to be called, I think we need to be looking out for those most vulnerable in our communities and ensuring that we spot any changes or anything that seems out of the ordinary. And there's obviously ways to report that, whether it be through KCC wardens, community support officers, online, Crime Stoppers, for example.
So is there anything else you'd like to cover or get over to our listeners?
As District Commander for Swale, I've already mentioned I work closely with local authorities and partners, and together we ensure that Swale remains a safe place for people to live, work and visit. I know over the summer months we have a huge population increase, especially on the island, and through that joint working, we ensure that remains the case. Through visible policing and partnership working, we aim to protect the public from harm, especially those most vulnerable in our communities. Aim to tackle local issues, whether it be antisocial behaviour, rural crime, and ultimately ensure that we deliver a first-class service to the public.
So I was just hoping, if our listeners would like to find out any more information, are there any useful contact details or places they can find out that information online?
Certainly. Sheerness and Sittingbourne police stations are open daily, and through the Kent Police website you can also establish your local community support officers and details about your local area. If anyone wishes to remain anonymous with information that they wish to pass to the police, then Crime Stoppers can also be contacted, and that's on 0800 555 111, and all information will be treated seriously and obviously confidentially. If anyone wishes to report a crime, this can be done via the 101 service or 999 if the call is obviously of an emergency nature. And finally, you can also report a crime now online via the Kent Police website.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for taking the time out to talk to us here at BRFM Bridge Radio on the Daniel Monday Night Community Show.
Thank you very much.